Tungal and Aedris were walking the sewers from Wanderer. Redfield had a sewer system very effective. A part of the fast waters of the Gold River was redirected in a network of tunnels dig under the city. All the waste were dropped in it and fastly evacuated to an artificial lake, named the Brown Hole, which was described as the most stinking place of Terebia. But because of that, Redfield was very clear. Despite of that, the sewers were sometimes used by gangs to move or to store contraband. Maybe it could be possible to find some alchemists and maybe followers of other religions. Because of that, patrols of inquisitors and soldiers were a number in it. Thanks to the localization of the citadel, the water was clear around it. But as I progressed, it became infected by all the garbage of a big city. "How do you find me?" said Tungal. When I woke up, Rongar said to me you wanted to reach Uprisk. As a main Velcron, I can travel fast. In fact, I reached the port a little time before you. Then I took the same boat as you. And in the citadel, said the former Inquisitor. "Do you remember the person who ate you? It was me. I placed on you a mark. Because of that, it is possible for me to know your localization on Terebia. And when did you take my money? To buy clothes? She took from her coat 2 masks and gave one of them to Tungal. When he placed it on his head, he smelled of medical plants. All the sewers outlets are controlled by guards, except the one who joins the Brown Hall, said the alchemist. The plan was simple. A lot of people considered that the end of the sewers were so polluted that nobody could survive to it. Because of that, the exit was not watched. So, if that mask could allow them to stay alive, they could easily leave Redfield. The sewers were canals large of 5 or 6 meters and framed by a quay on each side. Some little bridges crossed it sometimes, and some of them were built little structures of wood, generally built by poor families which lived on the only part which could stay dry every time. The other were used as checkpoints by the gangs. Regularly, smaller canals joined the principal ways. Metal bars or chains blocked some of them, generally to lock some part of the sewers as the territory of a gang. Other access were dig directly into caves of gang houses or to link them to the mansion of corrupted politicians or merchants. They arrived in a large room. It was the point in which the principal canals joined in it. In the center was an assemblage of wooden planks. On in was painted a network of white lines of different thickness. A red point was placed a little apart. Aedris put the finger on it. It is the point of the sewers. So maybe if we go by this way... She followed away with her finger on it. Right! I know how to get out. Follow me. They joined a secondary canal. This one had only one quay. The smell started to be very unpleasant. Moreover, some objects were floating on the water. At the moment, Tungal recognized a human body. It was not a surprise. All the corpses dropped in the canal or in the river had strong probabilities to reach the sewers. They arrived in front of a door of metal in the middle of a wall of brick. The canal seems to continue under it. Aedris made a scene and put the mask on her head. Tungal took his own and fixed it. The young woman opened the door. The smell was terrible. In the first time, the quay allowed the 2 travelers to stay in a dry part. Progressively, the structure started to get under the level of the water. Quickly, the level reached their knee. Aedris stopped, turned herself, and looked at Tungal. I don't think it is a good idea to let the water reach your injuries, she said. And you don't have the choice. You have to get through it. I will carry you, said the young woman. I'm on my back. They traveled like that a little hour before to saw the light of the day. They progressed slowly because of the high number of objects which obstructed the way. Finally, they arrived in front of a metal grid. Tungal thought they were blocked when he noticed that the wall around it seems to be rotten. And ineffective, the young woman didn't have any difficulties to snatch it. She reached the bunk and put the former captain on it. Follow me, she said. They walked until a pile of rocks. Aedris took a bag from it, which contained clean clothes. After having changed themselves, they walked on a little path until a small hut. In it were two beds made of branches and a chest in a corner. I have to look at your injuries, said the alchemist. Tungal removed his tunic. Aedris took bandage from the chest and put them on the burn mark. Then she did the same with his legs. What is our destination? said the injured. We are leaving tomorrow to Stavza. Tungal felt his blood frozen in his veins. That was the worst thing he could heard.